Welcome to Behind the YugiTuber, where we ask your favorite stars your questions. Tonight I have the man who originated 6 black guys, 1 deck. Tonight I have Paul from Team APS. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up? It's me.
I'm going to start this off by asking you the most basic question, is what made you want to start doing this? Did you have any particular channels you watched and saw, I can do that but better? Or did you have like a drive to make videos like, I want to be an entertainer or something like that? Or did it just like accidentally kind of happen?
It was kind of, I guess, for me, a combination of just 2 things I happened to like. So, you know, I liked Yu-Gi-Oh, of course, and I liked video making and cameras. Like, I'd kind of dabbled in making AMVs and just kind of things like that. So I was like, you know what, I can just combine these 2 things. And I think my motivation in particular to start it was watching pack openings on YouTube. So it was kind of around like when... Do you remember Dark Arm Dragon, when that was like a big card to pull from Phantom Darkness?
Yes.
And like I would always be watching these Phantom Darkness box openings to see who would pull a Dark Arm Dragon, or I'd watch like Light of Destruction because it was around that time, and you know, just see what people's reactions were. And I don't remember like who it was I was watching or anything like that, but I just remember that that's what it was, and that kind of made me be like, huh, it'd be cool if I had a camera and just uploaded me doing things with Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
So you mentioned you did AMVs. What was your anime that you mostly focused on?
I don't remember. See, the thing... Well, okay. It was mostly, like... I had it... Like, my sister watched anime, and she would, like, have some anime scenes and stuff downloaded on the computer, because we shared a computer. And, like, she'd have, like, some anime intros and theme songs and stuff. So most of the time, it wasn't me, like, knowing all that much about what I was, like, editing together. It was just me kind of having fun on, like, Windows Movie Maker and doing... just whatever was available and whatever seemed cool. I didn't upload any of them to YouTube. I would just make them and rewatch them and then just like delete them. I don't know. I don't remember what I did.
So you've made quite a few videos over the span of being a YouTuber. So what has been your favorite one so far?
I don't necessarily know that I can have a favorite one, but the ones that I enjoy the most in general tend to be either the event vlogs, which I don't do them anymore, but when I did them, this was like, you know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we would go to regionals or YCS events and I would do vlogs of them. And I enjoyed those so much because I was with my friends and I felt like I was kind of making a really cool, creative, like expressive experience. Because like when you're just recording a deck profile or you're just recording like a pack opening, you can't put that much uniqueness into it. But when you're like recording a vlog and you get to kind of edit it and pretty it up, it's a lot of fun. And the same goes for the like 3 skits that I've done. I've always had fun making those because it felt like I was actually directing something and making a presentation rather than just like a, you know, another Yu-Gi-Oh video.
So of course with making a lot of videos, you're always going to have one that you're not very fond of. So what is your least favorite video you've made?
All the skits, every single one. I loved that, you know, they've been like successful and I like that people enjoy them and everything. But when I look back at them, I just always get so angry because like, it's like, damn, I really could have, like, it's like with videography, you're always like learning new stuff. Cause I'm actually into videography and like photography and other stuff like that besides just, you know, making the vids. So whenever I look back, I'm like, oh, I could have filmed this so much better, you know, and not just like, oh, the quality, but I mean, literally like the shots, the editing, the planning, the pacing, the acting, like all of it. And I just look back and I'm just like, God, like, so it makes me just those are the worst for sure.
So I guess if you could go back and redo a video, it would be one of those, I'm guessing, would be your choice?
Well, easily one of the skits. Not any particular one. Honestly, all 3 if I had the choice. But, I mean, yeah, definitely those. Nothing else. I mean, you know, there are always some discussions where it's like, I look back and maybe this one didn't have... We didn't seem as enthusiastic or, like, it didn't seem as well prepared. But I can usually get past that.
Since you're a university student, do you ever find it difficult to manage your YouTube life with your normal social life in school?
Definitely, yes. In fact, more so recently than ever. I mean, because I started when I was in high school, and it basically never really got in the way, like, at all. I always had locals on Saturday, and I would just kind of go and get videos there, and it didn't really intrude. And even when I was in college, it wasn't really that hard to juggle both. But just I've recently gotten into graduate school, and that's kind of been sort of the breaking point where, like, it can be difficult to balance like study and work and all that with making videos. And I kind of regret it because I do feel like in a lot of ways my channel has suffered from it. I haven't been able to do all the things I want to do. I haven't been able to put all the effort that I want to put into the videos. But generally speaking, it's been fine. And as for social life, it's not too bad. I mean, I tend to keep my YugiTube life and like my real life generally separate. Not because of like, you know, like, oh, I'm ashamed, it's nerdy, I play Yu-Gi-Oh! It's nothing really like that so much as I think that keeping them separate helps to just make everything simpler. And like when people find out I have a channel, or I'll just tell them I have a channel, they'll, you know, they're like always super impressed and it's like, oh, whatever. But I don't know. I mean, it hasn't like negatively impacted it. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I just tend to keep them mostly separate.
So how many packs a month do you think you open?
Packs a month? There was a time when I felt like I probably opened, well, not more than I do now, but back in the day, like I would actually buy packs like at Walmarts and Targets and stuff. But for a long time I didn't, and then now recently I think I really only open packs when it's for an opening video. So I mean, I'll only open stuff maybe like twice a month because that's about how often Yu-Gi-Oh stuff comes out. So when a new main series set comes out, you know, Code or Circuit Break or whatever, we'll get like 4 or 5 or 6 boxes and like open all of those. But just kind of on the daily, we're not, you know, like ordering a load of stuff, just always opening. It's not really like that. So about that much, I'd say. Maybe like on a big month, it might be a few boxes. On a normal month, maybe just like a box of like Spirit Warriors or something like that.
On the topic of opening packs, how hard was it to convince Trell to eat the card with ketchup on it?
Surprisingly not hard. I don't know if I should be worried about that or not, but
he was a good sport about it. He's like, oh yeah, shit, I gotta eat it.
You'd be surprised. I mean, but that's kind of the fun of working with him, though, is like he's generally just like, if the funny thing about actually like making videos with Trell is like when it comes to doing regular vids, like I'll just like, okay, here's a discussion or a top 10 we can do, and he'll just be like, that's boring. Like I don't really want to do this, or we've talked about this. So he's always like kind of resistant to just doing the normal stuff. But then when it comes to something like kind of crazy, he's like, oh yeah, sure, like no problem. Because I was like, because he was the last person that I told that to. Like at first I, you know, told like Alex and Alec, I was like, okay, we're gonna do this box opening thing, and I guess maybe we should throw in some twist to make it a little bit fun. We should like loser has to like eat a card, and they're like, okay, I guess so. And I was like, oh, but now I had to tell Trell, and like, because he needs to be the 4th person, but like, I don't know if he's gonna want to eat a card. And I was like, okay, yeah, so this is like how this is gonna go. And he's like, oh yeah, sure, that's fine, sounds fun.
What a trooper. What a true man's man. Definitely a lot of respect. So I'm going to ask you now one of the ritual questions for the show, and that is, who is your Yu-Gi-Oh waifu?
Oh dear God. It's gonna sound weird.
Nah, man, this is a no judge zone. I like to preface that this show right here, this is Switzerland. We are true neutral.
This is funny. It's gonna sound weird, and I hate to say that this is a weird point of view, but I don't actually have one. Like, I have like cards I like, but I guess I've just never seen Yu-Gi-Oh cards that way. Because like, I mean, I've got like video game waifus sort of in my head, and like some anime characters I like. But I guess with Yu-Gi-Oh, since so few of the monsters these days get anything past just the art on the card, it's hard for me to like I feel like if I had to have a waifu per se, it would have to be like a video game character where like, you know, she had a story and, you know, she's kind of like likable in that way because of her personality and what she does and kind of how she acts. But it's like Yu-Gi-Oh cards are just like Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They don't, I mean,
I know you've been putting a lot of Persona 5 music in the background, so who's best girl?
Ooh, okay, it's gonna sound basic. It's gonna sound really basic.
Don't worry, I'm pretty basic.
But On is actually my favorite female character in that game.
I can respect that. Her design is awesome, and she's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely her. I mean, I like them all. Good game. One of the few games that makes all of the female characters have something you can like about them. But I think definitely she's like best girl for sure.
All the main characters in that show or the game, even the side characters for the most part, all the designs are impeccable. They're 10 out of 10. Really
Perfect.
Masterpiece. They're great. Definitely very good. I respect that answer. Next, I was like, oh man, Paul, please don't tell me you're the best girl is the psychic, because then I have to. We have some problems here.
Oh yeah, nah.
She's pretty no character. She's probably like one of the ones that was kind of forgotten about from the writers. It feels like.
Yeah. It's pretty much like the Doctor's the only like non-playable character people really go crazy over.
That and the teacher Kawakami.
Yeah, true.
Kawakami is the best.
Master.
Nah, it's not even about the maid. It's just base Kawakami. Feels good, man. So I'm going to ask you, if you had to go to a local right now, you had the access to every single card you needed, what would be your go-to deck? Doesn't matter the format. Doesn't matter what the meta is. Just what would be your go-to?
I think like on a given day, like just any given day, Mermills probably. They're just it's kind of a reliable deck. It's like pretty explosive, pretty versatile, pretty consistent. Like in any given meta, it's kind of always a bit of a sleeper deck. You know, it was really strong when it came out, and it's never been like gotten so crept that it's just totally unviable.
It's always had some weird combo, definitely like with Moon Glacia, and then set up Toad or double Toad in some cases.
Yeah, like, they got like Neptibus, and there was like the time with like Norden, and so I mean I think that at any given point in time it'd probably be them.
Would you say that's your favorite archetype, or would you give that to like Spellbooks or something? Because I know you've mentioned Spellbooks a lot before.
Spellbooks for sure. Spellbooks, it's tough. I probably Spellbooks because I just like the concept of them. But then sometimes they'll introduce a new archetype where I'm like, that's also really cool. Because I play archetypes and like archetypes based more on aesthetics than... It's like aesthetics first, then playstyle, except in a few cases. So, like, I played True Draco not because I thought it was a fun deck to play, but because I was just like,
They are very aesthetically pleasing. Like, Masterpiece's art is very, very good.
Yeah, like, they look cool, and they, like, represented the different, like, because there's, like, the Dynamite Knight from the Dino Mist, and, like, so on, and so it's kind of like, they all represented different sort of things.
What has been your least favorite deck to go up against, though? Is there, like, a certain one that sticks in your mind?
Recently, or just kind of in general?
You could do both. I mean,
like, recently, Trickstars are a little annoying. I mean, I guess anyone could say that. Trickstars are a little annoying. Spirals is, like, a basic answer, but they also are, like, pretty annoying. I think, though, that in general, the deck I've liked the least would be, like, EVILSWARMs or something. I don't know. Like, when they were a big thing, it just never felt fun playing against it. It just always felt like it was just this protect the tower thing.
It is the true helmet deck.
Yeah, like you get out this boss monster, and you really do just sit behind a lot of protective cards, and as long as they can't get rid of the boss, they can't play. And it's like, I don't mind anti-meta, I don't mind traps, I don't mind, like, I'm all about it. I can play a patient, grindy game. That's not really a problem for me. I just didn't like that OPHION felt like it was all of it. That was the deck, and that got really annoying.
You don't like how it's live by OPHION, die by OPHION?
Yeah, like, because, I mean, these days, like, the quote, helmet, unquote, decks, like, they still have other stuff they do. Like, let's say True Draco, right? Like, people, demise Draco from last format. It's... Masterpiece is annoying, duh. But, like, at least it had other moving parts, right? Like, there was the diagrams, the spells, and the traps doing their things, and, like, the Dynamite Knight and the Majesty Maiden and all that. They did stuff, and, like, sometimes if you could stop that stuff, then you could just prevent Masterpiece. So, like, there was some interaction there. It wasn't a fun deck to face, but, like, I feel like you're right. It's, OPHION was all of it. It was just all get out OPHION or lose.
Do you also feel that you don't like how it's just turn off the game kind of things? Are you, like, not a fan of Vandy's Fiend or Majesty's Fiend?
Not particularly. I don't hate them as much as some people. Like, I know some people really kind of get, hot and bothered about, like, helmet decks or solitaire decks. I don't hate the concept. I just don't like... I like a deck to have some moving parts. So, if... Again, just kind of with the True Draco example, I don't mind some, quote, cancerous boss monster. It's just like... As long as there's some other stuff going on that I can interact with alongside it, I can deal.
Because the way I want to explain it in the way my friend tells me is he doesn't like how he has no problem with True Draco. He doesn't have a problem with like evil swarms to an extent. He just doesn't like the idea of, I played this one card, you can't play the game. Like, he cannot stand playing against Cleafort, like, where like it's like triple vanities, triple skill drain, triple recreate. It's like triple lose one turn if you really want it.
Yeah,
like,
for what it's worth, I agree. I actually would prefer a single annoying boss monster over like 5 floodgate traps any day of the week. Like, I much rather be like, okay, there's a masterpiece and it's immune to a bunch of stuff, or like there's an OPHION that's protected by a bunch of stuff, or there's like a, you know, whatever annoying monster protected. I'd rather deal with that than deal with like 5 back row and like it's like a skill drain, a macrocosmos, a mistake, a skill, like just, you know, like that gets way more triggering to face for me than 1 or 2 annoying boss monsters.
Yeah, I recorded a OCG banlist Cleafort versus Blue Eyes duel recently with a friend, and boy did I want to pull my hair out so bad. It's like I'd have Cosmic, or I'd use Spirit Dragon, like pop the back row, and he's like, okay, and then he activates Skill Drain. I'm like, okay, chain this, lose 1 turn, anti-spell. I'm like, oh my fucking god. To the point where it's like I'm sitting here passing because I can't do anything. Like, I don't find that enjoyable at all.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, there's always going to be decks like that, but I hate, like, that the traps, they can get bad, but, you know.
Is there any sort of playstyle you can't stand playing around or facing? Like, I cannot stand for the life of me anything that plays around Banish Zone, because the way I always used to see it is, like, the Banish Zone, if something is put in Banish, it's gone for good, unless you have, like, DDR or Burial.
Yeah, funny story, actually. I wanted to make a video sort of about that. I might actually be releasing it here in a bit. Is just this idea that, you know, obviously the graveyard was supposed to be a graveyard, but now it's gotten to the point where it's like another resource. And then the Banish Zone kind of became what the graveyard was supposed to be. And then now, like, it's becoming its own place that decks can just interact with freely.
Yeah, it's like a third
so
hand.
now it's like they're having to turn it into Banish face down, just to, like, finally move this game to a point where, like, okay, there's something that you can't so easily recover and interact with.
Just add remove from play. Just add a third zone.
As soon as what was like rip the card up zone. I mean, because like I don't know, like it's just like Yu-Gi-Oh always tries to have this balance, and then like it kind of breaks the balance for the sake of. But anyway, to answer the question, a playstyle I don't like playing against, not particularly. I enjoy the challenge of kind of just adapting to whatever happens. I guess it would maybe be the same answer as before. I just don't like, you know, a lot of traps, like in floodgates. That may be my least favorite, but nothing else bothers me too much.
What's your favorite like low tier or scrub quote unquote deck? Like, I know you dabbled with Subterra Yang Zings and all sorts of other stuff.
Yeah. I have some like low tier picks that I'll just play because I really wished they were good. I think Subterra is kind of is one of them. Yang Zings is like kind of another. So yeah, I mean, like right now, I don't have one right now. Like, I've been playing Rockets. Does that count? It's pretty bad right now.
I guess, but who knows? Depending on, like, we've seen, like, they have some good cards. So if they get like some super OP support, who knows? Maybe they'll be the next big deck.
Yeah, I'm hoping they will, honestly. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't mind dabbling and stuff like that. It's fun. Like, I don't like playing decks where I feel like I'm trapped in a corner. Like, I don't like playing the linear low tier stuff, but I do like playing the low tier stuff that has some. You know, you get some options, you get some flexibility. That's
how I feel about like TCG masked heroes. Like, I cannot stand for the life of me playing them anymore. Like, I did an OCG ban list duel again with heroes this time, so I played like 2 Stratos, Monster Reborn, Feather Duster, and it's definitely a lot more fun. I have to say, it's still pretty much sit on Dark Law and hope they can out Dark Law, but it's definitely, it gives it more options, and it's a lot more fun that way.
For sure.
But do you have a rough estimate of how much do you think you've spent on the game so far, or do you just not think about it?
Do I not want to think about it? No. Hard to say. I actually think I've probably spent less on the game than most people. Like, I was always more of a just nickel and dime, like, my trade binder up, and I was very hesitant to like actually spend money. A, because I was in high school and didn't have it to spend, and then B, because like I'm just not a big proponent of like buying just individual cards. It's just something that's hard to bring myself to do. It's hard to like. Anytime I've never liked it. Like I've always looked back on it and been like, oh, this was gross. I shouldn't have done that. I would rather buy boxes or sealed product, I guess, but.
Yeah, you're the first person on the show who's actually said that. Everyone else so far has been singles only.
Well, okay, no, I will get singles if it means, you know, like, okay, I'm competing in an event, I just need this card to finish this deck. But as a player, I can't bring myself to be like, oh, okay, I need evenly matched, I guess. I'll just go like, you know, buy 3 for 100 some odd. Can't.
I luckily traded up a bunch of bulk, and I got enough.
Yeah, I'll always trade before. Just outright spending money.
Yeah, I'm usually like that with like high value cards. Like for the longest time, I've wanted ulti swap frogs, and last week I caved finally after like months of wanting to buy them. But yeah, it was. I felt a little dirty after it, but after one of them arrived, I was like, this was great. I enjoyed my purchase.
I do think that there's something to be said of hollowing out like a favorite deck of yours. Like it's one of my dreams right now, actually, to. One of my dreams to hollow out either spell books or mermails, like full max rarity. I think those are the only things that like can sort of fold me on my whole trying not to buy cards thing. Is if it's like a deck that I really, really like and it's kind of a legacy deck, I'll be like, you know, I can shell it out for like ultimate copies of something or another.
Yeah, I picked up it's not too expensive, but I picked up a lot of the older legacy, like full power decks in max rarity. Like I picked up like the full power Necros decks. I never had the money to play it when it first came out, and I was a strictly dueling network only guy because I was, you know, middle school, high school. I think I was high school around that point. No, yeah, I was in high school, so I strictly played online, so I had no way of actually getting the cards. And then I got like Dragon Rulers, and I'm almost done max raritying Blue Eyes, but I'm missing like Super Silver's Cry, and I think I need one more Stone of Ancients. Ultra.
Yeah, that was actually a deck that I tried to. I think I mostly maxed it out, except like $300 Blue Eyes. Not doing that, but
no, I just got the Dual Saga ones because I think those look the nicest in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it's the OG. The OG art is my favorite. I should probably start asking people that. So I'll start with you. What is your favorite Blue Eyes art?
OG art.
OG art.
No, nothing. I've always found like the one in like the actual LOB art. It's always looked so weird to me. It's like he's like twisting his head like all the way around.
Yeah, it looks very unnatural. The only one I think is like moderately okay is the one on. There's one of the newer ones. I don't know if we have it yet. I think it's OCG only, maybe. But
I didn't mind the Dark Side of Dimensions art, I guess, but like definitely OG art for sure.
I'm not really a fan of the one where he's like standing in front of the slab, and then where they changed it to be standing in front of the world. That one's kind of meh.
Dumb.
It's like it looks like I'm looking at a T pose of a character model. It's very bland. Well, what has been your worst purchase? Like, did you buy a prize card or like some spicy tech that you thought would be broken and then just flopped super hard? Like most regrettable.
Probably spending. No, I don't think I have anyone that I just really regretted. I would say that there are ones I've been like kind of disappointed in. Like I got a lot of boxes of Code of the Duelist, and I didn't pull like one Firewall or Reincarnation. So
wow, really? That's unfortunate.
But I mean, I don't like regret it because I guess it wasn't like I had any control over that. So I just wish it didn't happen. I don't know.
You wish you got some better pulls. Like what did I buy? I bought 2 Battles of Legend boxes, and at the time I just wanted like there was like a few cards. I got like most of the stuff. Like I got Trish, I got a couple of Omegas and Crystal Wing and Minerva. But I wanted for some reason to get a secret MX Saber Invoker because I had like the Ultra from Duel Saga. Just because I like Secret over that, and in both boxes I didn't pull a single fucking one, and my friends all bought boxes as well. Nobody pulled it. I don't know what the deal is with that card, but it is apparently short printed here, or whatever.
It has its little tricks they'll pull on us.
Yeah, very unlucky. But what was a deck that you predicted to be really good, or at least moderately okay, and flopped? We're going to exclude Maga Bullets because they're still very fresh in everyone's memory.
Oh, well, no. That was my easy answer. Yeah, because I was definitely going to say them.
Yeah, most people want to, so that's why I just like cut it out.
I think a deck that I thought was going to be good that kind of flopped. I'm trying to think of like earlier this year. Nothing too much. Let me think of last year. Hard to answer. I mean, I've never.
Are you very realistic?
I guess not. I mean, I guess that kind of makes me boring, but I tend to like.
I don't think that's a boring. I think you're just like a realist, where you look at shit and you're like, that's not gonna be OP. Everyone's being dumb right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've never kind of thought like a deck was gonna suck that ended up being great, but I've also never really thought that a deck was gonna be like totally busted and then like ended up flopping. I just kind of go with what seems likely, and thankfully so far I've never been wrong, I guess. So
well, damn, there goes my next question. I was gonna say, what was a deck that you thought was gonna be bad, but then actually was really good?
Yeah, I guess I don't really think I can. Let me try. Wait, okay, just give me a sec. I might be able to think of one. I didn't think that Burning Abyss would be as good as it ended up being, if that counts.
I could see that. Definitely. I don't think anyone expected it to be so resilient.
Early on, the so much, like, when I think of like the release of Duelist Alliance, so much of the attention was on Shadal's, that, you know, BA in those early weeks kind of went under the radar, and then people were like, oh wow, this is actually really OP. So that's probably the best I can say.
So next I'm going to ask you another ritual question for the show that I have to ask everyone that was on, because I put a post on Reddit before I started this show, and someone asked me to ask everybody that was on. I thought it was such a great question, and is, why does his scrub friend think Grand Mole is still broken? This is from Rob his cat.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Dude, non-targeting bouncing, it's so good.
Grand Mole, you know, honestly and truly, maybe it's not so bad. I don't know. I will say, just, you know, by the by, I think it should come to 3. Kind of unrelated, but I mean, like, I do think it's meh. Grand Mole, like, just to be honest, though, is just one of those cards for me where it's like, it's been on the ban list, and I think Konami's just forgotten about it. Like, they've just forgotten that it's there. That, you know, they just don't want to think. I just don't see how it could be such a problem that, you know.
Yeah, I kind of want it to be a 3, but speaking of ban list, what is your unreasonable ban list demand? What is something that you, like, just grinds your gears to the point you're like, fucking ban it? Like, during Metal Foes format, I was getting back in physically, finally, because I took, like, a second hiatus right before Pepe.
Yeah.
And then I got back in right after, like, the Invasion Vengeance started, like, right around December. And I just could not stand ARCHFIEND ECCENTRICK, no matter what. That card drove me nuts.
My answer right now is a very boring one that I'm sure a lot of people agree with. I think Ash Blossom should get banned. Like, if I'm being just totally irrational, like, I would just be like, just ban her. That card
it stops 1,000 cards.
So it's really overtuned. It's really, you know, like, and when I say overtuned, I don't even just mean the whole, like, stopping 3 different types of effects. It's the types of random things you figure out, like, oh, what? Ash Blossom can stop this? Oh, I guess it can.
It can stop Macros Cosmo, because it technically can special summon Helios.
Yeah, because I was, like, reading and it's like, oh, this can stop Shadal Fusion, even if there's not an extra deck monster in the field. It can just negate it. Or, this can stop Book of Eclipse. What? Like, it's just, that's so wild to me. But then, in addition to just the general, this card kind of can make Yu-Gi-Oh! Feel so unfun to play, because when you're using, like, it kind of higher up parts of competition, sure, whatever, it's annoying, but people deal with it and they use it, and that's fine. But when you're playing just kind of with your friends, using rogue-ish decks, it sucks that every single time you activate Pot of Duality or something, you have to ask your opponent, is this okay? Because they might Ash Blossom that, or they might Ash Blossom your Terraforming, or your Rhoda, or your, like, I've never played a Yu-Gi-Oh! Where I have to just ask my opponent if basic search cards are okay. I mean, you know, unless they maybe have like had Lagia on the field or had like some negator, but like it just sucks when even going first, it's like, okay, I'm going first, I activate Rhoda. Oh, Ash, okay, well, you know.
Pod Desires, poor Marcelo Barberi at Worlds did not get a single Pod Desires off. That poor soul.
Yeah, it's depressing, and you know, like Ash Blossom, like to answer the question for sure. Right now, if I just got like a selfish ban, Ash Blossom, get her out of here.
I think right now I don't want to deal with Reincarnation. I'm just like, it's so unfun to play.
That'd be my number 2. I think Reincarnation is far worse than Evenly Matched. That's my low key, maybe unpopular opinion, but I think Reincarnation is much like worse, as in more annoying and like more.
It's just
kind of
it just
toxic.
Creates an unfun scenario. Like, no one is going to have fun playing against this deck.
It's such a weird card too. Like, I just never thought that a Yu-Gi-Oh card would read banish your opponent's hand, just their hand, and like
face down.
And just like, you know, I was just like, what is this? This is crazy. Like, that's a lot on a card.
It's pretty nutty. It's pretty nutty. But what is your favorite draw power though? Are you an Allure of Darkness, Card of Demise?
Pot of Desires.
Pot of Desires.
I love it. I love it partly because people hate it, but also because I genuinely I'm a +1 guy. Like, I'm not about the Allure of Darkness. I don't dig it. I have used that in a lot of decks, and in its day, it was a good card. These days, it tends to be underwhelming. I don't like, you know, 7 Sacred Sword of 7 Stars and like Trade In. They've always been like I don't care for them, but I love Pot of Desires. I think more people should open their minds to it, I guess. Like, I know like a lot of people are still kind of opposed to the use of it. I'm not saying it's perfect or that it's like the best thing ever, but I find it to just be the best draw card right now for me. I enjoy using it.
I'm a very strong opponent of using it. Not because I think it's bad or anything. I think it's a great card. It's just whenever I use it, I'm very unlucky. Like at the last local I went to 2 weeks ago, because they've been closed due to Force of Will and Magic tournaments. I'm playing Spellbook Paleo, and I Pot of Desires, and I draw off my Pot of Desires, and Spellbook of Secrets. I check my banish pile. I banish both my knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I will say, there have been games where Pot of Desires has lost me the game, but I do feel like it's just won me so many more that I can live with losing a few to it, because getting just the plus and then the 2 new cards in general has been always felt so good. So I can totally understand why people just choose not to use it. And that's the best part, I think, of the card, is that you don't have to. It actually is not a card that anyone is forced to run, and I think that's great. And I think it's actually really cool that the last 2 super top-tier decks have not run the card. I think that alone says a lot. Like, we're talking, you know, Spirals and Zodiacs, neither of them were, like, Pot of Desires decks. So I think that makes a good example of the fact that it's a card that if you want to run it, you can. If you don't have to. There's no, like... It isn't like, let's say, Solemn Warning in its prime, or, you know, some like things like that where you didn't really get a choice. If you were playing competitively, you needed to be running these cards. I like that Pot. It gives you the choice. Like, you don't have to take Pot, kids. You know.
Yeah. 10 reasons why you should use Pot. That was one of the best titles you had. Well, was it 10 reasons or was it 5 reasons? I can't remember.
I think it was 5 or 10 or something crazy. But yeah, I mean, I do like that about the card. I enjoy it, but like not everyone has to enjoy it, so that's cool.
Definitely. It's like I didn't have any issues with it when I was playing 60 card decks, but like when I drop it down to 40, I feel like every time I use it, I'm just unlucky. So I just like, yeah, I don't want to use this anymore. I'm tired of, like, if I played in Blue Eyes, I'm tired of banishing all 3 Blue Eyes or 2 of my 3 alternatives. I'm like, well, there goes my win condition.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But since you've made so many videos, what has been your favorite thumbnail to make as of right now?
That's actually a very good question. I don't know that I'm like tied in particular to any particular thumbnail that I just like really like, but I guess that it's hard to answer. I don't know. I don't like have a favorite. I do like making thumbnails in general. It's usually pretty fun. Actually, there is a kind of recent one, if I can find it. It's just like as of recent videos I've done. I did like the Blue Eyes like Chaos Max.
Oh, the deck profile.
I did.
That was a nice one.
Yeah,
You did
I
that
thought
one
like
with, and then the Red Eyes variant as well.
Yeah, like there's like a Red Eyes and like a Dark Magician version. I was just like I made a template and then I just kind of made them all follow that. I thought it was really cool. Or like the what's the best summoning mechanic thing, and I just had like a bunch of different monsters. I thought that was a lot of fun, colorful, just crisp image.
Do you ever regret getting your channel as primarily Yu-Gi-Oh focused? Do you ever wish you could have branched out or started as something else instead?
Every day, all the time.
What do you want your channel to be? What is the pipe dream right now, or not the pipe dream, but the wish?
Just me talking about stuff I like, doing what I want, and that's okay. I can explain more than that. It's like I don't regret picking Yu-Gi-Oh, or at least regret's like a strong word. It's just I think I picked it at a time when it was what was there for me, and since then YouTube is such a different thing. And now that I've seen that, you know, you can make money from YouTube and a lot of work goes into YouTube, it's like I wish that I could have put a lot of this time into something that was more personal to me, you know, talking about stuff I like I want to make a channel, and I probably still will, that's just my channel, just Paul, you know, like I talk about, I like tech. I like, you know, tech products, drones, smartphones, VR junk,
Paul in the
all
park.
that stuff.
When are we getting more Paul in the park talking about scrub decks? When are we gonna get more? You talk about UAs. I miss those days. Those are the good old days.
Yeah, and like I mean, that's the thing about like YugiTube actually is sometimes it feels so restrictive, like you're in a bit of a box because you can't really. There's not as much creative outreach, and it sometimes just feels like kind of there's like. You can only really get so big, or, you know, whereas like if I just had a channel that was just kind of me doing what I want, whether it's a talk or maybe a skit or maybe a opening or a review of a movie or whatever, I think I could really get a wider reach and probably enjoy it more. It's not to say that I like don't like doing Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's just like
I wouldn't say that, but maybe to somebody who isn't on the YouTube side, it would sound like that to them. But everyone has like their one like passion project they always want to do. It just doesn't like succeed, but they do it anyway. I definitely understand your point of view of like Yu-Gi-Oh is kind of restrictive in a way, where it's like we can only get so big because it's somewhat of a niche. I would say it's a niche hobby.
Yeah, it's a niche hobby. I mean,
it's not mainstream anymore. It has been mainstream since like the early 2000s.
Right. Yeah.
What is your favorite collab you've done? Because I know, like, recently you did a video with Yugi No No, and you've done some other stuff.
That was my worst collab. Funny enough, if I can quickly just make this known, I apologize to anyone who watched that video, and that was actually the worst thing I've ever done. I'm not saying it was bad, like that their idea was bad or anything like that. I just mean like my presence in that video was the worst. I was so tired, and they just caught me at the worst time, and I didn't say anything, and I was just sitting there, and I was just like, I feel so bad because people are gonna watch this, and I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna have been like just a warm body on the screen. I really actually hope that at a future event I can like, you know, do another collab with like Yugi No No where like it's early in the day, and you know we've planned it out, and like we have kind of more of a more of a plan, and we have more, and I have more energy at least, and it can actually be something really great because I feel bad because it's just bleh. But as for my favorite collab, I actually haven't done that many collabs. Like in the past I sort of have. I've done some with like, I think I did one with Olympia Yo and like one with Tombox. Those have been pretty fun. I did like some swaps with like Underground and Simo. But I haven't done as many collabs, I think, as I probably should.
I don't know if you want to consider, like, I know you guys did a podcast for a bit. It was you, Simo. That was like 2 or 3 episodes. I don't know if you want to consider that.
That was on Yugimation though, right? Like that was.
I believe so. I can't. I honestly can't remember.
Those were fun. For what it's worth, those were a lot of fun. I think that my thing with, I guess, what makes collabs hard for me is when I collab, I kind of try to view it like kind of how mainstream YouTubers tend to collab. I would rather collab like in person at an event and have something kind of planned out and
I'm like
do it that way, as opposed to like I'm not as big a fan of like you record this part and I'll record this part and you record this part and I'll record this part and we'll kind of like stitch something together. I mean, people who do that, it's fine. I've seen some really good work done that way, and you know, like it's YugiTube. We can't always go to each other's house exactly, but
especially if we all live on like other sides of the country, or in some cases, other sides of the planet.
Yeah, and so I just am not as big a fan of that. I always feel like it would be cool to collab with someone at like Nats or Big YCS, and you know, kind of
one day everyone just like we get all the YugiTubers. We have them all come down to like, let's say like LA or New York, one of the places with one of those YouTube spaces. I don't know if you know what that is.
Awesome. Yeah, I do.
I only found that out cool. I only found that out yesterday after talking to Tom Box. I was like, wait, YouTube what?
Yeah, those are really cool. I've always wanted to go, and I think it would be so much fun if like, you know, even if it was just like maybe a half a dozen YugiTubers just kind of like all kind of going out and just making something together in one of those places. That'd be awesome.
You know, like a YugiTube workshop kind of thing. Just like
for sure
have everybody write out some skits for ideas. Like I know Tom Box would like want to do like a food thing maybe, like he did his with his bistro burger.
Yeah, the Bistro Butcher video. That was
or Bistro Butcher. And he made the Hungry Burger. My bad.
But yeah, those were fun for sure.
I'm definitely a one of wanting to do a lot more live action weird stuff to like sate my desire to make a film. So I've like it's weird. It's definitely
that's me too. Like I want like collabs to feel like a production, not just like kind of a but anyway, yeah.
To take a turn back to videos you've made, what has been your favorite pack you've opened? Was there a particular box that just was like super like the nuts, or was there just like a certain set that you just enjoyed opening?
Well, so the best pack I've opened actually wasn't in a video, but if I could share it real quick, it was actually a long time ago. Funny enough, before I even YugiTubed, I was in maybe like 7th or 8th grade. It was whenever Gold Series 1, the very first Gold Series was printed.
What was in that one, by any chance? Do you remember?
It's Crush Card Virus. That's the one that I pulled. And so the thing was, though, I was at a Books A Million and I was reading the magazine. I think it was one of the last years that Beckett existed, or maybe just some similar magazine. And they were talking about how like, yeah, Crush Card, this big prize card that used to be like really hard to get, has now been reprinted in Gold Series. And the Gold Crush Card was like worth about $300 at the time. And I'm a kid and I couldn't buy it. And so I was at Books A Million, and I bought one of those, you know, those like weird repackaged things that like Books A Millions and Targets will have.
Yeah, those like it almost looks like a scam, like where they probably
it's like who knows what's in this thing. I got one because it was like there's gold cards in here, and like I only got one. And, you know, my dad got it for me or my mom, I don't remember which, and I got it, and it's like, oh, I pulled a Crush card. Wow! After reading about it in the magazine for the first time in the same store, and I was just like,
holy
shit,
this
is crazy. Like this did this actually happen? And I think that was like the first thing I sold on eBay in my life. So it was.
Yeah, I still have some like old ass cards I found are still worth money. Like I have fucking Ulti Neospatian Dark Panthers. Like I had to find someone who would buy that shit.
Yeah. Now as for my favorite just thing that opened on the channel. We always have bad luck with pack openings, so
You got an Ash Blossom. Did you get 2?
Yes, that's true. But somehow that didn't feel like as crazy to me. I don't know, like maybe I kind of liked opening things like the Gold Series packs and things like that, because I feel like
those always have some like crazy stuff.
Yeah,
like when those are always fun. Maxi, Giant Hand.
So yeah, it'd probably be one of those.
What has been your favorite deck profile you've done? Like I know you didn't.
Ooh, I do have a favorite.
You've mentioned like you really did enjoy the what's it called, Herald of Perfection one, but you were a little sad that like people don't usually watch deck profiles as much.
Yeah, deck profiles they're weird. It's like sometimes people like them and sometimes they don't. My favorite one that I've ever recorded was I can actually find it. 1 second. It was the Cyframe deck at YCS Dallas by, I forget
Corbin,
the guy's name. Nico Smith.
Oh,
Nico Smith, YCS Dallas 2015. It was like kind of, he won some side event with a giant card. And I was like, hey, can I get a profile? And he was really nice, and he gave me the profile. And I just felt like it was the best explained deck profile I've ever recorded. And I mean, it was like pretty popular and all that, but it's the fact that he did such a good job explaining everything. And I felt like it was like the perfect length of time. It was the perfect kind of just, it all went really well. I don't know. It's kind of a strange thing to like. And then it's funny because, I mean, at the YCS Dallas, actually just a few weeks ago, he was there, and like, you know, we talked, and he recognized me, and it's kind of like we were friends. And I was like, I guess we are friends. I don't know. It was cool. It was a fun profile though.
What is your thought process when you make some of your discussion videos? Like, is there like a certain brainstorming? Do you sit around with the twins and Trell and just like, for example, what was the thought process behind like the field trip video? Because I feel like that's like, you guys have a lot of interesting discussions that a lot of people don't usually talk about. You guys go outside the box. You know, like, you know, what field spell would you like to travel to?
So sometime my like mood and like kind of how we approach them is ever changing, and it's probably a bad thing that it is, but it's also a good thing. It's like sometimes we'll do like, it depends on who, A, it depends on who it is, and then like, B, it just depends on how we're feeling at the time. Like sometimes we'll just be like, okay, let's just do a boring like top 10 best traps or like top 10 budget decks right now. Like just kind of this is simple, it'll probably be really popular and we can do it, and it'll be boring, but it'll
sell.
It'll do the thing. Then other times we're like, what's something kind of weird and off the wall? And so we do brainstorm, and we go through a load of ideas, and usually some of them are crazy and just get thrown out, but then sometimes it's like, this is just weird enough to work. So, like, and with the twins, that's usually where the more, like, super creative things come in, like what field spell would you travel to, or, like, you know, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Waifu, like, we kind of get the crazy stuff. And then, when it's, like, Trell or Calvin or Chris, it's, like, kind of different. It will be more, like, just, it tends to be more competitive. Like, everyone has their thing that they kind of do well. So, like, Trell has kind of a lot of like experience playing a lot of different decks and like competing a lot. So I know
he's taken Cubics to a regional before.
Yeah,
that man
so
is like trooper.
He's crazy. I leave a lot of those topics like that with him. Like I'll kind of be like, okay, so Trell gets most of the kind of competitive minded topics. And like, you know, one of the twins is more like into the lore part of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the artwork and the lore and all that. And so
like your Art of the Card series, was that whose idea was that?
That was Alex, right? And so he likes that stuff, and so I'll be like, okay, so he gets those, and then like Chris and like Alec they're both more just balanced. Like they can kind of like shift and do different. Like everyone can kind of do different stuff, I guess is what I'm saying. So who I record with or what the topic is largely depends on who else is in the video. So, and lately I've been experimenting with getting different combinations of people in on topics. So like, this year, for example, was like the first time I've had like Calvin and Trell in the same video, or like then I did one video where it was just like just Trell and Alec, and I wasn't in it, and you know then we had like there was one where like 5 of us were in. So I'm kind of trying to like reach out and do more stuff like that.
How, since you guys are a channel with multiple members, do you ever find it hard to actually like run the channel with that many people?
Super tough in some ways. So I pretty much make all the like channel decisions, and I do all the recording, all the editing, all of the like uploading and scheduling and social media. It's all on me, because I mean it is my channel. Like it's kind of like a Paul and Friends thing. But as far as like meeting up to record is gotten harder recently. Trell like used to live in the same city, but then like he's moved about like 30 or 40 minutes away, so I kind of only get him on his off days or when he's like kind of not doing other stuff. And like the twins and I, like we live together, so it's generally pretty easy. But even between us, we have like different schedules. And then like Calvin and Chris actually live like about 2 hours away, so I generally only see them maybe like once a month at most. And they've kind of been getting in videos a little bit more often recently, but it's very difficult to get us all together. And funny story, we have not all actually been in one video at a time, which I plan to change soon, but
Have the round
yes,
table.
Yeah, actually, that's the thing. If I do it, I don't want it to be just a round table. I think that's too easy. I want it to be like a skit or like a vlog or even like a joint opening video. But I kind of don't want to like take the. Actually, I probably don't even want it to be an opening. I just don't want to take like the easy way out and be like, all right, let's just all get together and do another discussion. I want it to be something special and people, remember it for. I don't know. I haven't. I've got some plans in mind, but I mean,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. I understand. It's definitely sounds difficult. This isn't a question though, but I did want to mention one of my personal favorite moments from I can't remember, from an older video. I can't remember if it was Calvin or Chris, but it was you guys talking about like things to do at tournaments and good tech choices. This was like probably 2015, 2016, where you talked about raw sphere mode back when it was still before it was even a reprint or anything. And I think it was Calvin. He was like,
it was Calvin.
You could pay me like like $5, and I walk up and just rip the card.
Yeah, it's
those moments like those are like the funness of the show.
Yeah, he's great. That's something that I am trying to veer more towards. Like for a long time, a lot of the discussions have been like kind of like cut and dry, and I'll be like, okay, so we need to just like say these things and finish this video, but. Lately, I'm trying to have a little more fun with it. That's kind of my resolution for next year, actually, is to let more of the personalities shine and more of the just our hijinks and antics and like kind of like leaving more like the bloopers in. Because I always regret that I don't like use more of the bloopers because there's actually some really crazy stuff.
You should definitely do like a behind the scenes video, just like showing up all this stuff from multiple skits, just like.
Yeah, like I want
tongue slips and like I don't know.
Because there's all sorts of crazy mess that's behind that camera. Yeah, I do want to do more of that.
To veer back into the competitive side of the game, what was your scrub ruling or MST negates with your group of friends when you were like a scrub?
Oh, there's so many. I think that the worst one that I did was probably like when your turn ends, like you just draw till you have 6 cards. I think that was something that I was always like, just play all my cards. So at the end of the turn, I'll just draw them all back. Like something. I think that was pretty much the. But I guess if I think of something that's a more like just more recent, somewhat ish, I didn't really understand like. I think priority for a long time kind of eluded me.
I'm still not even 100% on priority sometimes.
I'm glad it's gone. I'm glad like the whole like monster summoning like priority thing is gone.
Yeah.
I think,
but there's still like shit like third player priority.
Yeah, that's something it can get
confusing sometimes.
That can get pretty weird.
And then some people try to bend it so it works for them in chain links. That's not how it works, guys.
And then like Yu-Gi-Oh's gotten so much. There's so many more like facets to it now that you see the conflicts come up more and more, and so it's like. I don't know, like once upon a time, Yu-Gi-Oh! Moved a little bit slow, and I was like, okay, so these ruling disputes don't happen, but now like we've got these hand traps and like all these continuous effects and all these things that just are going on at one time, and so many monsters float and like just can chain. And
imagine if we didn't have problem solving text. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Shuffle your deck after doing this.
Yeah, because like decks really, it's too much. Problem solving text has helped. But even with it, there's still a lot of like just disputes where like people have genuine questions, like just things where it's like I can't answer this. The judge has to call the head. Like that stuff happens.
Some of those evenly matched rulings are a little weird, like with token interactions and stuff.
Yeah, it's really bad. Yeah, for sure, definitely.
It's really weird. So, as a competitive player, I'm able to ask you these questions, but do you have a certain test ritual or like deck play testing ideas? Like you have to win a certain amount of times or see this card a certain amount of times before you think it's worthy to run at a event or anything like that?
Well, I don't think I never feel like I've play tested enough. I always think that I should just play test more rigorously than I do. But I think that my process tends to come down mostly to being like, I'll play, it's not like a set amount of games, but let's say maybe a dozen games, and I'll have a notepad or whatever, and I'll just, anytime I have a dead hand, I'll like write what it was in that hand that made it dead. or like anytime that I win, I'll write down like, okay, what was the win condition each of these 12 games, or like when and especially when it comes to like picking an extra deck or like a side deck, I'll be like, okay, so I want to run all these different cards in my extra deck and I don't have the space. So in my 20 test games or something, which extra deck monsters were showing up and which ones were just like, I want to make this, but it's actually never a good time to make it, and then those get axed. And so I kind of like try to do this process of elimination thing, but I want to give it more than just, oh, I lost one match, I'm taking this card out, it sucks. I have to do more than that. So,
do you have like a certain extra deck card? Because I know for the most people when I talk to them, they have like one extra deck card that even if it's not the best, they'll still run it. Like I know one of my friends in like Zombie Lightsworn Zoo, he would run like Thought Ruler because Thought Ruler ARCHFIEND was like one of his favorite synchros back in the day. He's like, yeah, it's not the best, but like occasionally it does stuff.
I don't have one so much now, but I mean, like in the past, I've always wanted to run like things like Crimson Blader and like things like Crimson Blader or Colossal Fighter. I was just always like, I can see times where this could be good, but it always it's like, yeah, this just isn't worth running. Like there's better cards.
Do you miss any of the older rulings that like added a technical play to the game? Like for example, like the field spell, where like there could only be technically one field spell on the field, and if someone activated over yours, it would just send yours to the grave. Do you miss any of those kind of things, or like mistiming?
For what it's worth, we can go over a couple of those, I guess. So with field spells, when that was a rule, I thought it was fine. When I look at how the game's moved since then, I think that probably was for the better. Like early on, it was cool because you could basically out any field spell with your own field spell, so it kind of kept certain stuff in check. But when I look at the game from like a broader perspective, that's really not fun or fair. So I think it's better that it changed, I guess. And missing the timing, I'm glad that things these days just don't really miss timing. Like it's, for the most part, new archetypes and everything are designed so that they don't, and I think that's a good decision. I think it just saves everyone a lot of trouble. Like
it was definitely hard to explain to one of my friends what mistiming was, and he's like, why would they make it like this? This seems so counterintuitive.
Yeah, it seems counterintuitive, and it just sems like for a new, if you want Yu-Gi-Oh to be a game that a lot of new players can like, then that type of stuff shouldn't exist. So I'm glad that it doesn't. Like I understand the concept, but I think that having to explain it and like all that stuff, there's no use in wasting time with that. Cards should just do what their text implies they do. So, missing timing is just a weird concept. It's not really in the rule book or, for a long time. And like, it's not clear cut. So I think it's better that it's gone. I don't really miss any of them. Maybe first turn player getting to draw. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe that would make like going first even more broken though.
Yeah, like these days that couldn't work now. Like
imagine going first with SPYRAL starting with 6 cards.
Yeah, that'd be different. Like when it happened, I missed it, but then when I saw like the game go into the whole direction of like big boards on turn 1, it's like, oh yeah, this probably needed to change because this is.
Yeah, it was like now that everyone's trying to optimize their deck for a SPYRAL specifically to go second because the extra card is so useful and it's easier to break boards as a SPYRAL player now, like against SPYRALs. So
right,
yeah.
But
what is one mechanic that you have that an archetype has that you wish another one would have just to like either make it better or more consistent? Like I usually wish that some archetypes have almost like how Sage of Eyes of Blue in hand can be sent to the graveyard and send one monster of the field to the graveyard to special Blue Eyes from the deck, like to help turbo out like a boss monster that's like not too impactful on the game, but it's just a consistency like power way to just to get something
I
on the
would
board.
say for a long time I wished every archetype had an honest. That doesn't exactly answer the question, but that was like kind of back in my more like 2010 type, 2009, 2010, back when that was kind of a thing. I think nowadays it would be cool if more archetypes had, more of the bad archetypes, we'll say, had like a black whirlwind type card. That would be like neat to give some consistency and like advantage to the lower tier decks that don't get like wild stuff. Or I mean, like, this is gonna sound really broken.
Go right ahead, man. It doesn't have to be reasonable.
It would be really cool if every deck got a SPYRAL resort, but
yeah, that'd be nice.
That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen, but I mean, it would be really neat if it did.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice. Would you like? Do you want everything of the Spiral Resort, like shuffle back, untargetability, searching, or do you just want like the search?
Sure, all three. Let's go. Why not?
Hell yeah, that's what I like to hear.
It's like why not?
Fuck, let's go balls deep.
This game could get unhealthy fast with that type of thing, but in my perfect world, I think every archetype should have something very similar to that.
What's one deck that like you wish had better support that you were just like so let down with? Like they
That's my recent answer. I mean, like definitely Rockets. I just don't understand why they would make a deck that just doesn't actually can't feasibly make its own boss monster. It doesn't.
That's a little counterintuitive for sure.
Yeah, it just seems disingenuous. I think just a more maybe like older school example. Maybe I can't think of anything really. I guess it's Rockets right now. Altergeist too. All of these like new deck. They just seem like they're so meh. They struggle so hard to do anything.
Yeah, I was expecting before Code came out and before we even saw the list, I was hoping that Code would be like a second Duelist Alliance where it birthed a new rock paper scissors.
And it's literally the opposite. Yeah, where it's these decks all suck.
Yeah, these decks are all trash tier, and then it's like Spiral's the best, weehaw, and then there's TRICKSTARs, but you kind of got to be a degenerate to enjoy that deck.
Yeah, it's like I really think they could have done better with this new wave of archetypes. It's been very disappointing.
What are you looking forward to though in like the upcoming sets? Like, are you looking forward to like localized Trunade, or that new broken counter trap in Flame of Destruction that has the evenly matched effect where it could activate from hand? Its name I forget.
I haven't read that yet. What's it do? Do you know it?
Let me pull it up. I was reading about it yesterday, and I was like, this is kind of not okay. It is called Red Reboot. And what it does is when your opponent activates a trap card, negate the activation. And if you do, set that card face down. Then your opponent can set one trap card directly from the deck. For the rest of this turn, this card has been activated. Or, no, this card resolves,
opponent cannot activate trap cards. You can activate this card from your hand by paying it. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I think the card I'm looking forward to, the localized Trunade, definitely seems like it's going to shake things up, I think. Like, how much it shakes things up kind of depends on what happens with spirals. I think if spirals are out of the picture, then localized Trunade will really shake the meta up. As it is now, I actually don't think it would be like super impactful because spirals aren't all that much back row based, or at least not face down back row. And element sabers seem neat.
Yeah, they look cool, but I feel I actually haven't.
I want to see what happens with that.
Maybe it'll be like the new
incredible. They don't seem incredible, I will say, but it's the most interesting looking archetype because nothing else. I mean, like I'm not looking forward to Tendangles.
I was gonna say you're not looking forward to my boys Tendangles. What are you telling me? You're giving it to me straight, Paul. Please.
Yeah, it's like I'm not. All that stuff. It's just more a repeat of like Code of the Duelist kind of
junk pack filler.
Yeah, a lot of filler.
Well, what is since we're not getting the Link Vrains pack, what is the link you're looking forward to the most?
Maybe needle fiber, like a lot of people, or probably needle fiber. I mean, like Alcahest or Full Metal Foes. What's his name? Electromite. Yeah, he's neat too. But I think that Crystron Needle Fiber.
Are you going to be playing Pendulum Magicians when Electromite comes out?
Loki, I hope that they do something about that before that happens.
Because I don't want to play that deck, but I have it sit on the side if it becomes like a little bit of a problem.
Which it will. I mean, I think
pop your skills, draw one card. What could possibly go wrong?
I think that the biggest problem really is that if spirals leave in say January and then Electromite pops up and then like have we solved anything really? Like, I don't know.
We're back to the in between after Zoo died, where it was just like or Pen Magicians was the best deck, and then it's like a bunch of like.
Yeah, I don't really want that. I think that'll be kind of lame.
Well, while it was cool to have other options, it was clear that like Pendulum Magicians were still the best deck, and everything else was like lagging behind.
Yeah, basically that. Actually, exactly that. Yeah.
Man, I just hope we get like some really cool archetypes because like I look at them and I I don't.
That's what I want.
I don't feel
this game is not
like the burn that I felt when I looked
now.
at Burning Abyss. I don't feel
these decks
desire.
aren't complete. That's what it is. These decks, like these archetypes, are so underwhelming and slow, and they can't do what they're even trying to do. And it doesn't seem like that's changing anytime soon, and that kind of worries me because it's like we need these if they want to make a game where we're playing with kind of weak archetypes, that's all right. But then you can't have spirals and pendulum magicians. But it's like, do we want a game that's that slow and low power decks too? Like, maybe,
are we gonna go? Are we gonna go back from where it was like? what was the format before, like +1 Fire Fist? Wasn't it really fast? Wasn't it windups?
Yeah, like I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah, that's what it was. But yeah,
do people really want to go back from like super fast format, like wind up, hand loop and shit, and then we go to card D is the most broken combo you can do?
Yeah, like I don't. Maybe that's good, but like maybe it's not.
I don't know. I feel like I'd be a little
I'm not
bored.
the person to ask. Like some people would really love that, and I respect them for it, but I don't know that I want that myself.
Yeah, I want an archetype that I could really get behind and be like, wow, that's super cool looking. Like I just have not felt it.
Yeah, same. I totally agree.
Maybe Vendreads. I'm praying that we get like something good.
I want them to become something good too. That would be nice. Yes,
that would be nice. We're just like, Chimera was a nice addition. Maybe something to make Reorigin not useless in a way.
Yeah, please.
I mean, like, I guess you could make a link with it. Whoa. Whenever we get land, whatever the fuck it's called. What is that thing called? Land Phoenix. The most generic link where it's like, please guys, we're sorry about links. Please play the game.
Yeah, that.
Where it's just Mrs. Radiant Arrows with 2 monsters, not even restricting not tokens, like like Ib or something like that. That's probably going to be very interesting. I'm kind of interested to see what the meta will be like if we do go to a slower one after if we inevitably hit Spiral and Pendulum Magicians and everything stays slow. We don't get any fast decks. Once we get that, I'm interested to see what the meta would shape up with. Just because
me too. We
have an easy to access link. Because like maybe some lower tier decks that are like getting some sort of legacy support. Maybe I don't think so. Maybe in some crazy world where someone finds some broken ass combo, we'll see like Madolce or something. Who knows?
Who knows?
But we're coming up on an hour and 20 almost, so I want to take this time to plug all of your stuff. I want to hear your YouTube, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Tinder, your Grindr, your MySpace, your Tumblr, your Friendster, your Farmers Only. Let the people hear where they can find you.
Oh, you left out the Pornhub. I thought that's where we were from. You know, the six black guys, one deck. No. You follow me on YouTube, go figure. Team APS. You can also follow me on Facebook, Team APS, go figure. Follow me on Twitter, Team APS. I would say you could follow me on Instagram, but that account got deleted somehow, and I'm not sure how. But anyway,
unlucky.
Yeah, it's some crazy mess, and really just those. Just follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. I'm always posting some like little pictures and polls and little announcements and other stuff.
What events can we expect you to be at coming up? I know YCS Atlanta is on February.
YCS Atlanta. That's going to be the next major one. I don't think I'll be going to anything before then. I mean, I guess they haven't announced like the Extreme Force regional season yet, so I won't know too much until then. But definitely YCS Atlanta, I'm planning to go. I think we're all going to be there, and that should be...
I'm definitely trying to see if I can go to it. Not entirely sure just yet, because it is kind of expensive to go to Atlanta. But hopefully, I'm definitely... Or almost...
If you can grab a group of friends, you should... definitely try.
I'm trying to, most likely going to go to ARG Charlotte though. I think that's February in North Carolina. You can meet me there if you do care to meet me. I don't think that like all 2 of you, but I'll sign your Z-Man the Ape Kings. I'll sign your anti-magic arrows. I'll sign your whatever meme card you want to throw at my face. You always leave me comments. I'll sign your Pot of Greeds. I'll tell you what it does then. Only then, though. Only when I sign your Pot of Greed and lower the value of it by having my shitty signature on it. But this is where I'm going to plug all my stuff. You can follow me at Cvit _ on Twitter. You could subscribe to my channel, which if you aren't, not sure how you found this. Maybe you found it luckily through the lovely fans of, let's say, Team APS for this episode, or maybe in another episode because you're just binging them now from watching someone else's. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support the show. Every $1 helps. Don't feel obligated though. Videos will happen nonetheless. If you do donate at least $1 though, you can join my Discord server and talk to me for whatever reason you may want to. But do you have a Patreon? I don't remember if you do.
I do not right now. I've thought about making one, but I don't have one right now.
All right, but
that was a big blur
thanks
of
for
words, but no, I don't.
Thanks for coming on, Paul.
Yeah,
it's
no
been
problem.
fun.
It has.
So see you next time, guys. Oh yeah, before I forget, everyone, please leave your questions in the comments section for further guests, and also let me know who else you would like to have on the show.
I'll also try to show up in the comments of this video and talk to people about anything that they want, you know, any of my answers and stuff like that.
And if you guys come up with better questions than I do, which isn't that hard, but he will be there to answer them.
Yeah, no problem. I can definitely do that.
And so
Thanks again for having me on.
No problem, man. It was an honor to get to talk to you. So until next time, guys, peace.